She keeps the family together. Thank you. And I do indeed want to thank my family, because one thing that I have done over the years is I've deliberately never pressured them into doing anything, and especially with politics. And yet they have spontaneously always volunteered. Matter of fact, Rand and the rest of them got together and made this plan to come up here. And it didn't come from me, but that makes me feel very good about it. And it also makes me feel very good that I see you as part of our family and that you're here and nobody coerced you, and I love it. You know, the most common question I get from the media, it happens every time, and they always ask, what's going on? You know, where are the people coming from? What's happening on the internet? Where are the volunteers coming from? Where's the money coming from? And why is there so much enthusiasm? And, you know, I've had a lot of time to think about this, and sometimes you have a little bit of time to explain it. Other times you have to answer it in 3 seconds. So I've decided that when I have to give a quick answer, I usually just say, freedom is popular. But I'm the first one to admit that not only am I pleased, but I'm very surprised and ecstatic about the enthusiasm, because it tells me that my skepticism was completely wrong, that a lot of people do care, and a lot of new people, once they hear the message, will join us. And to me, that is very exciting, because I really believe one way or the other, regardless of what happens in this campaign, something very significant is happening in this country today.
So I'd like to just take a moment here. The doctor says that something very significant is happening in this country today, and I couldn't agree with him more. And I think this is about the second time I've heard him say that. And I think there's this recognition point. It's certainly upon us. I know it's upon me, and evidently it's upon the doctor as well. And the only question is, when will this become where and when will the recognition point happen for the general population, for the mainstream, let me stop using that term, the establishment media? I believe it's happened for the establishment media. I believe it's happened for the establishment. They know what's going on. The sleeping giant of the American people has awoken. They know that. They're trying to see how long can they ignore it. First they tried, the Gandhi thing. First they ignore you. Then they laugh at you. Then they fight you. Then you win. And we've been through the ignore phase, certainly, for quite a while. And they continue to try to ignore us, but we won't be ignored, will we? No. It doesn't seem like we will be ignored. We certainly weren't ignored in over 100 cities across the country that participated in the Paint the Town Run this weekend, where people went out with and created banners and signs and hung them, Ron Paul support banners and signs, and hung them in freeway overpasses and at freeway on-ramps and off-ramps and all over their cities. No, that's pretty tough to ignore. Okay, so they've tried the ignore thing, but it ain't working very good, is it? No, we won't be ignored. Okay, well then they tried the laugh at you thing, at every opportunity, calling us the tinfoil hat wearers, and at every opportunity, poking fun at Dr. Paul and literally giggling and laughing while he's being asked questions, while responding to questions in debates. Well, they tried that. Didn't faze us, did it? Didn't stop us, did it? Didn't deter the growth of the Ron Paul revolution, did it? Maybe it actually blew up in your faces. So they tried ignoring. They tried laughing. What's next? Oops, they're going to fight us. Well, wonder what that's going to come. What that's going to look like. What kinds of forms and shape is that going to take? They'll fight us. But then we win. That's the next stage. win. W-I-N. Get it through your heads, folks. We got a good shot at it. All we need to do is do it. If we do it, everything, all the things that can be done to support Dr. Ron Paul in his campaign for the White House, we got a shot. They're going to fight us. We got a shot. Let's listen to some more of the good doctor in New Hampshire.
The paradigm is shifting. We have lived for so long in this country by deferring and defaulting to those who want to control our lives through the use of government force, and we're sick and tired of it, and we want to control our own lives.
The paradigm is shifting. Very key phrase.
Some people have labeled this a revolution, and I would say this is a grand day for a revolution. Thank you. You know, I am a strong believer that our lives and our liberties come from our Creator. And if our lives are truly our own, of course, we have to take care of ourselves, and we have to be self-reliant, and we have to suffer consequences if we make mistakes and not depend on our neighbors to take care of us. So if we have our life and liberty given to us by our Creator and not by our government, doesn't it follow that the fruits of our labor should belong to us 100%? And of course, if you believe that, the corollary to that is we have to totally reject the 16th Amendment and get rid of the IRS. The principle of the income tax is exactly opposite of the principles of liberty. That means the government owns us, and they allow us to keep a certain percentage under certain conditions, those things that we earn. Now, that, of course, is a total rejection of what made America great, and unfortunately now it's been almost 100 years that we have accepted this principle, and it needs to be reversed. But you know, a similar program or an understanding exists which further enforces this notion that the government owns us, and that is the principle of the selective service and the draft. That has to be rejected as well.
So let me go ahead and pause there, right there. I think he's bringing that up. I think that's about the second or third time I've heard him bring that up. And I think that it's in recognition of the likelihood of war with Iran and the fact that the only way that they can have a war with Iran, unless it's purely an air war, is by putting into effect the military draft. So I do believe that the doctor is kind of cueing us to and putting that on the agenda and putting that in our minds as yet another example of government oppression that we do not need to accept, and that we should, sort of buck and shrug off as oppression. So let me go ahead and continue then.
To me, the idea of a military draft is based on the concept of an authoritarian, because it says, once again, the government owns the people, and for some reason, it just said, well, isn't it a good idea? The 18-year-olds owe it to America, that they have to be registered to fight for the country. No, it is not true. If we have to fight for our country and fight for our liberties, we all should be involved, not the 18-year-olds. And unfortunately, when they can resort to the draft, it also means that they are more likely to get involved in wars they shouldn't be involved in. And unfortunately, they're looking at it right now, because I am very concerned about what might happen in the Middle East, and the reason why our efforts and our rallies and our movement